YouTube, and welcome to the video. It is currently the 17th of May, Saturday the 17th of May, 8 o'clock in the morning. Just had my first meal of the day and I'm ready to crack on with my first block of check-ins. But I thought I'd start this video off with a little bit of a prep update over the last week. So I weighed in this morning at 179.6 pounds. And for reference, when I competed as a junior in 2022, albeit I wasn't in the condition that I'd like to be in, I was 175 pounds on stage. So it's kind of mad to think that I'm only 4 pounds above my stage weight in 2022. Arguably, I'd say I'm in a similar condition now. And like I said, when I competed in 2022, I wasn't in the condition that I would have liked to have been in. And then for reference, when I was a teen, I competed at 158 pounds. So got still a decent more body fat to pull off. I would say anywhere between like 18 and 22 pounds. I've got a feeling I probably will see the 150s this prep as well, which will be exciting. It'll probably be a very flat in the 150s, but yeah, I'll probably still see it regardless, especially with the condition that I'm planning on getting into. You know, I want to be in very, very good condition because that's all I can control when it comes to this prep. You know, like, I'm not going to build any more muscle within this phase, and all I can control is making sure that I get into good condition and the cards will fall where they fall. And that's probably a good note to have as well when it comes to a contest prep. If it's maybe your first season or maybe you're a seasoned athlete, you know, always just focus on yourself and what you can bring to the stage and your package. Try not over obsess about the people you're going to be competing against, because at the end of the day, you need to concentrate on your journey and producing your best look. And where that falls is where that falls. At the end of the day, it is up to the judges. You cannot do anything about it. All you can focus on is your best look. So, yeah, like I said, new low this morning. Definitely feeling a little bit more battered this week, especially towards the start of the week. We've decided to call a devolume for the next few sessions as training fatigue. Yeah, I know the dreaded word of fatigue. Training fatigue has obviously accumulated throughout the last 10 weeks, and I just need to take the foot off the gas a little bit when it comes to the volume. So I'll be training devolume legs today. Obviously the intensity will still be exactly the same. It'll just be less volume than usual. So yeah, I'm excited for that. I'm now going to crack on with my first block of work, first block of check-ins, and I'll probably catch you guys when I'm ready to train legs. Right, so just got to the gym in for devolume legs today. Like I said earlier in the video, I've just realised I look pretty tanned compared to the last video, and I've been going pretty ham on the tanning moisturiser over the past few days. So if anyone's wondering why I look a lot more tan than last video, it's because I've used tanning moisturiser. And yes, I know I'm a male and use tanning moisturiser, but I hate being pale, especially when I'm checking in and I'm checking in with a white box light and it just completely washes me out when I don't have any form of tan. I just look literally transparent. So yeah, I use tanning moisturiser. People probably think I'm a freak because last video I started the video off with a nose strip on, and this video I'm tanned. So yeah, people probably do think I'm a bit of a weirdo. But yeah, it is what it is. Anyway, that's a morning worth of check-ins boxed off. Really, really good check-ins this morning. The team's getting on very, very well. And whilst I'm on the subject, I might as well do a little bit of a dirty plug because it has to be done. But if you are interested in working with me, I'm going to leave my coaching application form in the description of this video. Obviously, fill out your details and I'll get back to you with a inquiry video. If you want to just have a little bit of a chat with me, find out a little bit more about coaching, then drop me a message on Instagram and we can go from there. And we can even book in a consultation call to discuss things a little bit further if you are interested. But yes, I'm going to get in for the devolume leg session now. Pretty much every exercise is going to be reduced by one set. So majority of my exercises are just going to be one set for this session, apart from abs and calves, which will be 2 sets. So yeah, I'm going to get in there now. Hopefully it's going to be a good session and I'll catch up with you guys after the session. Just got back from the gym from a very, very productive leg day. Really, really happy with how that one went. Obviously it was a devolume session, but it was still a very, very good one. Managed to hold all my numbers, which I'm happy with. And considering the new body weight this morning, so I'm really, really happy with how that session went. I also managed to catch up with one of my clients, Owen, who is a team bodybuilder, and he's 11 weeks out at this point in time, just over 11 weeks out, and he's in a very, very good spot. Really, really happy with how he is at the moment and how he's looking. he's got a really, really solid head on him as well, like just enjoying the process and cracking on with it. And that's what I just love to see, you know, especially for someone who's never prepped before. It can be quite a daunting process, but he's absolutely nailed it. So yeah, had a little bit of a look at him post-workout, tweaked a few bits of posing. So obviously he's a first timer, he has to learn how to pose. He's already pretty good at posing anyway, but you know, there's always a few tweaks that you can make to obviously amplify the overall look. And yeah, he's in a very, very solid position at the moment. But I thought with this video, what I would do is add a little bit more of an informative content. And what I'd like to kind of talk about within this video is time management and how to progress your bodybuilding journey with a full-time job. Now, this is something I feel like I can talk about because not only do I have a full-time job where I work 40 hours per week, I also have my coaching business. I also am studying for a degree. I do YouTube, I have a podcast. You know, my life is very, very busy. So I feel like a lot of people could probably take some tips away from this and take some advice away from this and maybe implement it in their lives, especially if you feel like you don't have enough time to achieve your bodybuilding goals. And my first kind of bit of advice would be that's probably not the case. You probably do have time. And I always say this to people, like, especially if clients say this to me, like they don't have enough time to do certain things. I'm like, there are single mums out there who bodybuild and chase their journey and chase their progress, right, and chase their goals. They have to look after their kids, they have to bring in an income, and they still manage to do every single box that there is. So why can't you? You know, and the main thing is poor time management. A lot of people can't map out their weeks or map out their days or plan ahead for what they need to do for that week. And that is something that I would highly recommend. You know, things like prepping your meals. It's very, very simple. When you have a little bit of time to yourself, spend half an hour, 45 minutes to prep your meals for a few days. You know, for example, you know, you might be at home for your first meal and your last meal of the day, and the rest of the day you're at work. Cool. Make sure you're prepping those meals that you're eating to work, either the day before or maybe a few days before when you've got a little bit of time on a rest day or something. Make sure you are prepping your meals so you've got the plan and the tools available to you to obviously continue chasing your journey. My second bit of advice is have a look at your routine. You know, a lot of people don't have a very structured routine, and this does let them down in the long run. If you have a solid routine in place, things will just fall together. I always say this, your routine is your backbone to your bodybuilding. If you have a good routine, bodybuilding is very, very easy. If you have a poor routine where you're going to bed really, really late, you're getting up really, really late, you're putting yourself behind, then no wonder you're struggling to fit it all in. But if you have a good routine in place where you know what time you're doing your steps, you know what time you're eating your meals, you know what time you're doing your cardio, you know what time you're training, it makes it a lot easier for you to just stay in this routine and keep productive in this routine. A lot of people don't overanalyze their routine, and I think this is a big, big part to play within people don't really like being in routines. But unfortunately, you know, the most successful people are the people who stay in a routine for a consistent period of time. Anyone who's at a high level in anything, whether it's business, bodybuilding, they have a very, very solid routine in place. And a lot of people will look at the old school bodybuilders like Ronnie Coleman, Jay Cutler, and they look at them and they go, oh, they literally got paid to do bodybuilding. They didn't have to do anything else and worry about it. But I'll tell you now, majority of the pros at the moment have some type of business venture that they have to allocate a lot of time to. So it's exactly the same when it comes to your full-time job. You know how many hours you've got to work in a week. You know what shifts you've got. You know, a lot of people work different shift patterns. A lot of people have a very structured shift pattern where they're working the same hours every single day. So that already maps out in your routine. So you know what time you're doing what. Then you can work around that. Right, do you need to get up a little bit earlier to do your cardio? Do you need to get up a little bit earlier to do your steps? Maybe you want to train before work. Maybe you can train after work. You know, it's having that discipline there to making sure that you actually want your goals. And this is another thing that I see is a lot of people want something, but they are not willing to work for it. I like the saying, they're all bark and no bite. You know, when it comes to really, really applying themselves to a journey, their actions do not reflect their goals. And this is a big part within bodybuilding, that if you want to achieve something, you have got to be very, very dedicated for a long period of time. And if you want to progress your physique, you've got to be very, very dedicated for a long period of time. And I know some of this advice might seem a little bit brutal, and people might think to themselves like, when am I meant to chill out? When am I meant to watch a bit of TV with the missus? You can still do that. I do that. You know, I still give myself an hour to an hour and a half a night of watching TV, maybe a little bit more on weekends as well when I have a little bit more spare time. But if I make sure that I've done everything before I get to that point, I know in myself that I've done everything I need to do. And that's including, you know, if I need to prep my meals for the next day. You need to have a to-do list, or the power list, as Andy Frisella used to call it. You know, it's having those 5 things that you know you need to do for that day. And they might be really simple things like train, eat my meals, cardio, steps, prep my meals. Like that might be your 5 things that you want to do for that day. Write it down and make sure you're accountable to your power list or to your to-do list. And if you do that, you will find that you will force yourself to tick those boxes and get those things done. I found that with a lot of people, when they say they're going to do something, it never materializes. So always, you know, write it down. If you can't do it in your head and you need that kind of accountability by writing it down in the morning, write down what you're going to do and go and do it for that day. And then once you've done all your things on your list, then chill out. And it might mean that you might have to sacrifice, you know, an hour of gaming a night or an hour of TV a night. But I promise you, if you want to really achieve your goals within bodybuilding, there is a little bit of sacrifice. And unfortunately, you can't just sit around and live the, you know, the old school bodybuilding way, because that's just non-existent anymore. And like I said, a lot of pro bodybuilders still have a very, very fixed routine in place and run very, very successful businesses. Where are we at now? We're at 8 minutes in. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed that little bit of informative kind of rant. I don't want to appear brutal, but some of them is just facts, and you have to just get on with it sometimes. And you know, a lot of people struggle to see that within bodybuilding and try to find the easy way out, but unfortunately there just isn't one. But yeah, if you've enjoyed this type of video, do let me know in the comments section below. Make sure whilst you're at it, drop a like on the video and subscribe if you're new. And I will catch you in the next video, which will be Denny's show day, which I'm very, very excited for. So I'll see you guys then. Cheers.